Okay. Cheers.
Cheers.
I hope we don't fuck this one up. So let's see how this one goes.
It's okay. Trial and error. You know, once you hit rock bottom, you could go up, right?
That is true. You know, I did a podcast with our nieces, and she said that that's where she got that from, was from you. She goes, Hector's a nice guy. And I was like, what? And he goes, he's the one that told me that, you know, with trial and error, that you can only go up from here. That's how you bounce back. She got that from you.
Yeah, I got it from a wise man, too.
Yeah, you're not that bad of an uncle, you know?
Not too bad. Cheers to that one, too.
Cheers to that one, for sure. I get too far.
Not too far. Good stuff on the wine. Good selection.
That was a good selection. So look, I've known you my whole life, and to this day, what interests you so much about business?
Man, I could go way back. It started. I mean, Dad's been doing business, conducting business his whole life. I mean, not his whole life, but I mean, as far as I could go way back to knowing him since birth. Yeah, I make it seem like I've known him forever. Oh, but also when I went to Colombia, Uncle Jorge, he was also a businessman. He had a couple buses. So ever since I was a kid, I mean, it wasn't like attracted me to business, but I saw that people were happy in what they did, and that's that they were self-employed. So I mean, one way or the other, I've always been into business with them, or you know, I can go back to like 6th grade where I would be selling candy, you know, lollipops, and Dad would take me to Alameda Street back home, and you know, we'd go buy the lollipops, and sometimes he'd be like, "Here, I'll buy it. It's on me." And I think that's how I bought our Xbox 360 one time.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
selling candy.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? It was nice, you know, that you could like buy stuff, and luckily I didn't have to pay taxes back then. It was under the table, so it was
That's
good.
True. I think that kind of runs in our blood. I mean, Alex, he would wash cars. I sold candy once you started selling candy. I did that in middle school too. I don't know if you knew. And then we've always just been in the fields of just trying to make money, you know.
Make money, but make money in the right way, you know. And it's always been interacting with people in a way. You know, there's some businesses where you really don't have to interact with people at all. You know, that's why you have like e-commerce and all that going for you. All you have to do is put up something online, and the screen does it for you. I mean, you know, COVID, you know, working with tax preparation, all that good stuff. You know, I've had to learn to be more used to the computer. You know, set up appointments online versus having your clients come in, meet face to face, and you know, it's easier to kind of build a relationship on those grounds where you get to meet and you can like read the body language, because you know, everybody's different, so you have to approach it. So it's a case-by-case scenario where an individual could be coming in with a big liability, and you know, just like any industry, some people can leave a bad taste in someone's mouth. So they're, especially when it comes to somebody's social security, you know, what's it called, personal finances. It's hard to build that trust gap. And you know what? Luckily, I've been blessed that I've been growing, and a lot of it comes from my clientele, and I'm very blessed to have them, because they're honestly the ones who push me more than Instagram, Facebook. It's just the word to mouth. So it feels good that at the end of the day, it's like they that's how you get your referrals, based on the work you've done. You keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's nowadays, and I'm not saying that it's nothing wrong, but people hear about people through marketing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But when you hear it through other people, that's something to look at too, because it's like a recommendation. Like, I trust this person, so that means they trust you.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's a blessing, because I've been on the other side of the spectrum where so I have kind of like 3 gigs I have, but one of them is a full-time at the Paul Foster Med School. I work for the grant department.
Yeah.
You know, so I get to work with like a lot of neat stuff, and I've had colleagues be like, "Hey, do you mind if you throw out the referral?" And I'll be honest, I'll be like, you know what, I don't know much information about it, but I mean, I've worked with you, and I mean, I've seen your work ethic, and I just don't feel comfortable enough to put my name out there for you, because I mean, here's 2 things. I've always told people, just be honest with me, you know. as much as it's going to hurt. And that's really important in any type of profession. So you should always tell an individual, hey, if you're going to ask for a reference, but I think you should always ask them, hey, would you mind giving me the reference instead of demanding it? And one, because some people don't feel comfortable, and if they put that reference in and they get hired on, it could backfire. So I've been lucky where I've had the ability, because it's, in business, people always say it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I think that's kind of misinterpreted. It's actually what the way it should be said is if they know you. Because you can know all these individuals, like you said, like the world's connected at the end of the day by 6 people. You know, if you met LeBron James, then that kind of means I met LeBron James. So that's how it works. But the thing is, does LeBron James know you? And then second, does LeBron James know me? It doesn't work that way. So that's, I think that's what has to be understood. It's like, it's not necessarily who you know, it's if they know you.
It's not what you do, it's who knows you.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But networking surpasses a lot of things. It's, if you get the position because of networking, I mean that, and you're neck and neck with somebody, or they have a little bit more credentials than you, that networking could go a long way as well.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Networking is key.
Yes, absolutely.
What do you think you lack when it comes to networking?
It's oh man, you could always improve on it.
Always. Sure.
So there's no what I lack in it. I mean, there's always improvement. So I feel like after a networking event, it's always like building. So I mean, I kind of have like a foundation when I go to networking events. You know, I have services I could offer. So you know, two things everybody needs in life is a lawyer and a doctor, and then third would be an accountant. 3 things. I'm sorry. So that was the motto growing up. That's what my dad told me, and I kind of wanted to do law school and be an accountant. But I saw, I used to work at a law firm, and I saw the lifestyle, like the pressure it did carry. And you know, speaking to a lot of lawyers, they were very honest with me and very transparent. They said, like, if you want to be a lawyer, you really gotta like what you do. 1, and 2, you have to be really devoted to your career, and not just working 18-hour shifts. That's the minimum. You have to be willing to sacrifice time away from your family. But at the end of the day, it's also depending on what you want to build for yourself, your legacy, or your family. Like, you know, I've seen attorneys that just work all the time just so they could devote everything to their family, not necessarily with time, but with monetarily, where, you know, the kids, you know, 20 years from now, they don't have to worry about college, you know?
Yeah.
They don't have to worry about having food on the table. I mean, lawyers make really well. But you also keep in mind is that, like, where's that money going to, you know? So sometimes just because you're not there physically, you can be there monetarily by providing for the family. And that's okay.
Yeah. So then why did you choose being accounting?
You know what? Why? I think it was after I failed the first accounting. It was kind of a slap in the face. But for me, why I chose accounting, just because it's black and white. You can't bullshit it. You know, you start going through different organizations in school. I mean, I remember in college, College of Business called COBA.
Yeah.
And they had the org fair. So you meet different organizations, and you kind of start meeting different students, and everybody's approaching you why you should join the organization, and everybody just has so much to offer, you know, so much diversity within an organization. It's really good. So you don't know what to pick. And I didn't join a business organization my first couple of years in college. I did a fraternity, but that was a great experience as well. But once you after I got done with accounting, the first time I failed it, a lot of my colleagues took accounting too, but a lot of them started diving into other electives and classes, and they would bring me into these organizations, and you could feel what's right, what's not, and what organizations were genuine, what organizations wanted you to get the best out of you, but you also put in the most work so it could complement each other. And one of my best friends, I did a co-ed fraternity, and she helped me with accounting the whole time. And it made me realize what good things could come from this degree, because it teaches you a set of skills versus a lot of other jobs. It has to come through experience. And in college, if you're not in an internship, you're working something that's not in your field, because that's El Paso. 90% of the student body works. So if you're not working in an internship, and a lot of internships do come in the summer, but if you're not, you're working in something that has really nothing to do with it. So it's hard sometimes to get that competitive advantage over someone that does do those internships. So back to the question is that I see a lot of students being very successful, going to different places with accounting, and there's other degrees that they do.
Yeah.
But there was just something about the students that when they came back, it was like they had a certain skill set that made them stand out in the classroom. But it also made me realize is that they lacked a lot of different skills. So a lot of accountants are very socially awkward.
Yeah.
Very.
And you're not.
Not. That's the right question. Why am I an accountant? Maybe I shouldn't be that. But I feel like with that kind of, I would say maybe not skill set, but like with, having the confidence to go up to people and talk to them is kind of having like another, what's it called? Skill to your, adding another skill to your craft, you can never have too many skill sets in your craft. So, I mean, when I saw that I have an opportunity, I can do accounting and do this as well. That's why I chose a human resource degree, because it was a management degree as well. So I see if I can complement those things. I mean, they could add to me, and then let's see what happens from here. So that's why I kind of also like kept going with accounting.
Yeah, because you could see yourself build off of that.
Yes, because there was a building block there, and honestly, like sometimes I question myself because I see my colleagues doing this and that, and then when I actually, the good thing about it's great that you bring up a network. I've kept in touch with a lot of my colleagues from college, and what I've learned from them is that it's okay to ask. Because I always ask them, hey, can you help me with this? And you know what, I'll get back to you in a couple of days, Hector. But you know what, here's my scenario. Can you help me out with this? And I get great help, and I'm really appreciative of it. So when they help me, I'm just like, how come these individuals just don't start their business? I'm like, they're so smart. Like they get everything. They know how to read tax law, and they know how to talk to clients, and they have it all. But I'm just like, why wouldn't you take the lunch? If I can take the lunch, I don't see why you can't.
Yeah.
But it just comes down to taking that lunch.
To me, I think it's scared of failure or even failure of rejection. And it goes back to the first question is with, what do you lack in networking? Well, you're not afraid to go up to people, but other people, they're just scared of that rejection or scared to get out of that comfort zone. That's the way I see it. Because so many people could be their own bosses, and so many people could start their own businesses. There's so many smart people, but they don't take that risk. And I think it's because they're scared of rejection, or I don't know what it is, Or maybe they don't, because there's so many smart people that I've met into in my life that like, why don't they start a business? And they just don't want to take that leap of faith,
Well, here's the thing. It's because it all comes down to a safety net. You need people... So need a safety net, and it could be various different types of safety net. It could be having a job. It could be retirement. It could be mom and daddy. There's different types of safety nets.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that's what it comes down to, because I think in my field, accounting, it's difficult because at the end of the day, regardless, when you go ahead and perform your duties as an accountant, at the end of the day, it still falls on your client.
Yeah.
Because the IRS is not going to be like it's the accountant's fault. He made that mistake. They're gonna recognize that, but they're gonna be like, you didn't do the right thing to go to somewhere else that would have answered your question. Yeah. And that's what's kind of tough with accounting, because at the end of the day, it's not a gamble, because you kind of need to know what you're going into, but it's also a lot of accountants have to recognize, hey, if it's above your pay rate, go ask for help. And I do ask for help a lot, and that's why I'm partnered up with Jaime. We used to work together at PYA, and he taught me a lot of things, but he also made me look at a lot of things and kind of like figure them out on my own. But that was the beauty of it, because it wasn't corporate accounting, so there was a lot of things that weren't structured. So it was really up to you to kind of like look at different problems the company's facing and fix them. But the beauty of it is, like, I think when somebody works together with somebody else, they see the goal, they see the vision, and they see the light at the end of the tunnel. That's gonna make you want to get up every morning and go to work.
Yeah.
Like having that someone to push you as much as they're pushing you. A lot of people say they do push one another, but they really don't. And I mean, Jaime's been more than just the partner. He's been a friend, like somewhere I can just go to outside of work. And I mean, that's what makes it really work. And I'm very blessed for that opportunity. So I think it's a combination of many things, but I mean, I would go to him before when I didn't know the answer to things. Cause I mean, it's okay not to know things, but
Of course.
the thing is like I've seen people in my field take on work and don't know it and charge a significant amount. You probably triple what I charge and do that work. And then it comes back to bite them. And then they want to blame it on something else. And that's a different conversation too, but
accountability.
Yeah, and exactly. It comes out to the word accountability, which is
An accountant.
It should be. And you have to take that into consideration. And I mean, people should kind of try to feel someone out too. But I mean, I get it. Things when you have your own business, you know, everything's going so fast. It's hard to keep an eye out on the little things. And that's where you kind of need someone that you can really trust to push that agenda.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it's good to ask for help. Why do you think people don't ask for help? You think it's the ego?
It's not the ego. It's the fact that it comes down to kind of like the similarity of being rejected. You just don't want to go through that. I mean, I got rejected earlier at dinner today. But there's nothing wrong with that. You know? It's okay. Like, if you don't know it, it's not a big deal. Just ask for it. But the thing is, it's like, what is it towards you to sleep at night? Like, if you don't know it and you do something and you sent it out, it's going to be lingering in your head. Yeah. Maybe not 2 days, but somehow, like, your mind plays tricks on you where you're just like, 3 months later, it's like, I think I should have done that. And it's lingering. So that's the thing. You kind of want to, if you don't know it, just ask. You know?
Because if not, it just causes mental stress.
Yeah, mental stress. And then usually your boss is really upset at you at the end of the day because why didn't you ask me and you knew you better. So I've been good about the habit of asking because there's times where you want to take on the opportunity and you don't want to fail. You want to put your name out there and everything. But if you don't know it and you don't even know where to start, that's the problem. So it's always good to just ask.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I mean, you talked about failing earlier. I think we fail more than we win.
All the time. Kobe Bryant, I think, shot 36% from the field.
Yeah.
And he's a Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer.
All day. Even Jordan. And that's the thing. Like, and that's what they all talk about is failure. But, I mean, we live in, what's that called? What is it? Flex? Where people flex?
Yeah, people flex.
Yeah. And I think that's where people get caught up. And, you know, I'm one to say that I've fallen into the hype a little bit. You know, everybody does.
We all have.
We all do. But the thing is just being willing to kind of swallow your pride a little bit. So what I mean by that is that I have a lot of friends. They're like, Hector, how do you start a business? Let's do this. Let's start up here, boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, that's great. But how are you going to get there? Because everybody has a plan. And like people say, you have a plan until you like get hit on your ass. And how are you going to get up?
Yeah.
And you know what? Honestly, I started from my parents' living room.
That's where Steve Jobs started. Some shit like that, right?
It's on the garage.
All right, garage.
Yeah.
Still.
We had a... I mean, you know, maybe, hopefully, it could happen. You never know.
Yeah.
One day you could be starting from basement, you know, and then the next 20 years kick in and you own a good majority short of Amazon and look at you. You don't have to work another day in your life. But, I mean, I don't know what those guys do. And a lot of people say, oh, they must have it easy. But, I mean, they're still involved in their company. They still want that competitive edge. I mean, obviously, Amazon... I don't think they've sold out, you know?
Yeah.
They're still a big company. They own a majority of everything, of the market. So that's what I'm getting to. Like, a lot of people think it's bad to start, you know, at the bottom. And, you know, it starts a lot to do with your supporting cast. You know, I'm very blessed that I have friends that call me, you know, just to check up on me. Hey, how's it going? You know?
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, you know what? I want to set up an appointment with your taxes. And sometimes I'm like, you don't have to pay. It's like, no, I want to pay. Business is business, you know? And you just like, I don't want to charge. But it's like, you know, you need to charge because you have bills coming in every month.
Bills coming in.
But, you know, it feels good and they start promoting you and it just starts, you know, falling in line and you're very appreciative of it. so that's why I'm very blessed. But it all started in my parents' basement, and that's why I'm not basement, but living room.
Yeah.
That's why I'm blessed, because every morning, they're like, "Hey, how you doing? Do you need anything?" And they were a big driving factor in that. And now I'm in an office, which is a lot better. But it started somewhere, so it's just a building block, and it's going on my fourth year. But I mean.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with living with mom and dad. Honestly.
Oh, not at all.
I know people think like, oh, you live with mom and dad, fucking loser.
Those are my roommates, all right?
Yeah, those are your roommates.
Moved out a little bit, but those are my roommates.
Yeah, definitely. It's everyone's got different paths, but to me, I think it's more so society telling you should move out of your parents at the age of 18.
Society also tells you to go to get into student debt for $200,000.
That is
Society
true.
tells you this is the way it should be, but it's not. And not only that, but everybody's different. It's a case by case. That's what I like about taxes. Like, you never know what's going to happen, what's going to walk in through that door. It's a case by case, but there's many professions like that. The medical field is the same way. Attorneys deal through the same, but
Podcasters,
exactly. You're going to have a different scenario, different story, and that's what's cool about it. And people need to understand that there's people in the same boat as you, and it's okay. And the thing is like, everybody wants to say, well, what would have happened if I would have started at this start line? Or everybody's trying to get like people to start at this line, But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where you start. It's not even like, it's a fucking marathon. Like, you gotta, I ran half a marathon. I haven't ran a full one. So I can't really say I've run that much, but it starts getting harder in mile 8, 9, and you know what? I'm not ashamed. I'd say I walked a couple times, maybe walked a mile straight or even 2. But the objective is to finish a marathon. And consistency is the biggest part. So if your goal is to run marathons in life and it takes you 4 hours to finish your first one, half marathon, guess what? You finished 4, now you keep going and going. And like, I've seen that with my clients. You know what? At my first year, I was like, oh man, I hope I get to see this many, because my first tax season at a different firm, man, I saw like 200 people. And then I saw the numbers and we did the calculations. And that's what I was like, why don't I start why am I working for somebody else? And the first year, and not even close. Not even a dent on that figure that was at the other firm. But you know what? It opens your eyes to be like, it's not that easy to open up your own business. But you don't want to walk away from something that has a little potential, or some potential. So, and that's where people, I think, kind of take back seats and they want to start something else. Because I've tried all types of other businesses too. I even tried the solar game, but you know what? I didn't succeed in the solar game. I don't want to say it's for me. Maybe I just didn't put enough effort. That's what I would say. Because everybody says, well, this isn't for me. This isn't for me. It's like, no, you can make it if you want it. So I can't say that solar game, no, I just didn't put any effort. And I think that's what people do. They need to put a lot of effort into what they really want and what they like.
I agree. I think people expect to be good at something in 1 or 2 days, but it takes patience.
Patience. And it's not Hollywood either. It's great when we watch those movies and in 2 hours you see someone's life turn around. But it doesn't happen that way. You got to be really patient.
And there's no calendar in those movies either.
Yeah.
We don't fucking know.
Yeah. And you kind of know what's going to happen at the end, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Except for Wolf of Wall Street.
That was such a great movie. That's a classic.
Yeah.
But yeah, straight up, it all takes patience.
Good things to happen to people who wait.
Good things to happen to people who wait. Do you think by having a good supporting cast, that's helped you be where the position you're at right now?
Yes. You can't do it by yourself. Anybody who says it is full of shit.
Yeah.
And I'm not one to say, well, I've done it all. I don't have millions. I still have student debts, if anything. I'm not one to preach and say, here, I'll have this and that. You know what? It takes a combination of a lot of factors. And even luck. You need a little luck.
Yeah.
And people who say, well, I've done this by myself, you're full of shit. You need a supporting cast. Even Bezos and all of them, like they said, they started from their parents' basement. Somebody started with 200,000. But that's the thing. You need someone there behind you, whether it's a friend, whether it's a companion, whether it's your parents / roommates,
Yeah.
You need someone there that helps you get through those rough days, because those dark days get rough, that you question yourself, you question your ability to your profession. You want, not only that, but I mean, when you surround yourself with a successful supporting cast, you're like, what did I work for this whole time, where I could have gone vacation, where I could have done this and that. And that's where that kind of character comes in, and really, you take a step back, take a deep breath, and really look at everything and says, is this worth doing? And I think that sometimes is, a big setback for people, or not even setback, where they just choose to go a different route.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I've seen tax returns for businesses their first year, and it's a loss. It's rough. You're learning your model, you're learning how to grease the wheels, but there's a lot of wrenches thrown into it.
Yeah.
But it's okay to have a loss. And that's what people are like, why the hell is it, like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I working extra hours? And it's like, this is how you get there, though. Like, these people, this Whataburger just didn't open up. This Whataburger's been here these other ones have been here for 50 plus years, and that's why they're the way they are. Because it takes time. So a lot of people have to understand. It comes back to, like, that's a big component, is patience.
Patience. You're supposed to lose before you gain anything.
Yeah.
It's with any type of business that you want to invest yourself in. With what if you want to be an entrepreneur, whatever it is, you have to invest. You have to lose.
And it's a lot, but you lose time, and it's one of my favorite concepts is opportunity cost.
Opportunity.
You familiar with it?
No.
Okay. So opportunity cost is.
I'm not a businessman.
No.
I'm a business man.
Okay, that's a good sign. But opportunity cost is like, what's the opportunity of me having this drink with you?
100 out of 100.
Out of 100? No. Like right now, how long will this podcast go for?
How long will this podcast go
Yeah.
for? We're at 26 minutes. I would say 30 more minutes.
Okay, and then we prepped before we played a card game, right?
Yeah.
Then we did something else. I could have done probably 3 tax returns in that time. And that's the opportunity cost. So the opportunity cost of if you see your numbers declining in business, you see you're not making any progress, you're going to doubt that. And that's going to be the biggest things, because it comes back to like the flex world, where you see your colleagues, I mean, they have maybe the same job, making a little more money. They put a little more into their educations. They have masters, PhDs, so-and-so, whatever. But you're going to look at that, you're like, why can't I be having that much fun? Like, why am I breaking that much? And why am I putting something that's not gaining it?
Yeah.
So, like, that's another factor. So it comes, like you said, like, this is a good question, because it comes out to the supporting cast. So that's where your supporting cast comes in and keeps you, you have to vent to them too. You have to tell them how you're feeling every day, and so they can guide you to it.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, the supporting cast is big, because you go through those rough times, like you said, question everything. But, when you have a supporting cast that pushes you, and then, I've a couple of years later, they're just like, how are you doing this, man? It looks good. It looks like it's picking up. And, there would be times in the Instagram where I'd be like 4 days, 6 days without an appointment. Every day I'd be like, I look in the mirror and be like, I know I'm going to get a client today.
Yeah.
And somebody calls, but it's because word of mouth. Like, when I answer, it's like, hey, are you Hector? Yes, so-and-so referred to me. So-and-so referred to me. And I'm like, and that's what it feels so good when you hear that.
Yeah, and also because you're building that law of attraction. When you can think of it, you can believe it, and you literally can make it happen and achieve it.
Yeah.
This is the way I see it. She talked about it like, when it comes to business, you have to have consistency. But what drives consistency to me is discipline. But what drives discipline to me is having not a plan, but having that hunger.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many virtues that come with it, and then you start building that momentum.
And you do. And you have to be open to a lot of things.
100%.
You can't be picky. And everybody says, well, I can't wait to be picky with my clientele. I'm like, yes, but why would you want to also get, that clientele is what builds you up in a way too, because somebody once told me, it's like, Hector, there's A clients, B clients, C clients, D, and the other one. So there's a point in your career where you can have A and B clients. And I mean, who doesn't want A and B? But I mean, C's and D's are the ones who, helped you build up.
That quantity.
Yeah. Quantity drives quality. And not only that, but those C and D's teach you a lot. Yeah. Because you get a lot of work thrown at you from really clients that sometimes they don't even have a direction of where they're going in their business. And some of them really do, but they just need that extra confidence where they're saying, like, you actually did this. Now you just need to tweak this and you're set. So, and that's another factor of it. What I've learned from being an accountant is that a lot of clients usually so scared of the IRS government. They're like, I'm doing this wrong. And, you know, we have to have a profit. Not really. Like, when you look at the numbers, you understand why. But sometimes just people don't like to seek help. And that's okay. Like,
so you being an accountant and you doing, I was just kind of thrown off, but do you get taxed on your business?
Why wouldn't I? Everybody pays taxes.
So you got to pay taxes too?
Yes.
So while you do taxes, you got to do your own taxes?
Yes.
Oh my God. And you usually have to pay back?
If you're self-employed, yes.
Oh, okay. I mean, I don't know that.
No, yeah, you do. 15.3.
15.3?
Yeah.
Damn. So
but, I mean, that's part of the game, you know? It's not a bad thing to pay taxes. And a lot of people...
It's not.
It's not. And it's part of it. And, like, everybody's like, oh, I got to pay taxes. I got to do this and that. It's like, yeah, you do. But it's... If you're paying that much in taxes, that means you're very successful.
You're doing something good?
You're doing something right. Either that or you have a really bad accountant. But, you know, sometimes a lot of people that I've seen that are very successful, like, because I've try to get big whales, you know?
Yeah.
Call me Moby Dick, you know? I'm trying to get the biggest one.
Absolutely.
And, you know, sometimes some people give me the opportunity to give them my pitch. And they do it for two reasons. One, because they're bored. And two, because they know what it's to be in my shoes. Yeah. And they want to help me better myself. So I've gone to one where they're just like, oh, okay, this is good. Like, appreciate your time. But I've also gone to other whales where they're like, you know what? If you fix this, but try and learn more on this is going to make you better. And those are the people I also appreciate. And you know what? Like, that's why when people ask me for advice or something, like, I'm not going to be like, no, you got to learn on your own. Like, in like the county network, if somebody asks me for advice, I do my very best to give it to you. Like, I'm not here to be like, well, you got to pay me because it's on the clock, you know? Yeah. It's like, if you want to learn this, just let me know. Like, just shoot me a text and I'll be more than happy to. Like, I've had clients, I do their taxes and I explain their taxes. I always like to explain the taxes at the end, just so they know what they did or what happened, or like, kind of like just break it down just a little bit to where like they understand like the 1040, because that was kind of big that I've been to when I started my first year. That a lot of H&R places don't break down the taxes, and people just hear paperwork, sign it, boom. But like, you kind of want to break it down, and you know, some people don't even want to break it down. They're just like, Hector, let me sign it and I'll get out of your life. I'll see you next year. You know what? That's okay. I'm not going to be upset. But I always like to explain it and break it down. One, because they see how it works, and if you can, everybody should be able to do their taxes. But
everybody should be able to do their own taxes.
To a certain extent. But if they don't, that's okay. And if they want to come look for help, they should pay for help, which is okay. Yeah. You know, like, if you're going to pay for someone's time, like, respect it.
Unless you got a brother that does it for you.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, and you know what? Sometimes I struggle with, like, because people are like, come on, dude, hook me up, bro. Like, they want to haggle with me. And I'm like, if I have my pricing and you want a discount or you want to haggle with me, but is it fair to my client that paid 80 and he did the right way to reach out to me and didn't expect anything in return other than my service? No. So why should you ask for a discount? Yeah. So that's one thing. Like, I'm not getting insulted, but I'm like, hey, man, like, it's like
the respect.
Everybody waited in line, and then you want a fast pass to get in line and have the best experience? Come on, man. Like, and that's a lot of things that people in business deal with all the time.
I think, well, I'm not gonna lie. So, like, I would say my early age, that was kind of me, you know. I'd ask my friends, oh, yo, hook me up, hook me up. But then I saw it when I spoke to other friends and realized it's kind of a sort of disrespect, you know. It's if your friend's got a business, support it.
Yeah, and
by supporting, you're being fair, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the way it is.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like,
I learned it from my tacos. when people were asking me, "Oh, bro, you my boy, hook me up." In my head, I was like, I spent 2-3 hours making these tacos and burritos, you know.
And that's when you learn when you're on the other side of it.
When you're on the other side of it,
and that's what. And some people might not even get to like understand that and that's okay. But like, you're gonna get different characters in business, and you have to be ready for it.
Yeah.
And you know, I also do the dealing with school buses. You know, I buy them and then flip them to Mexico. And you have people come in and give you offers that are lowball. You're just like, how would you offer that? But for me, at the end of the day, I just break it down. If you want to offer, that's low, but I'm going to come back with a response. It's just going to be like, this is why I have my pricing. And that's okay. And like, if you don't want to buy it, you can go somewhere else. It's not a big deal. And like, you're going to get to a point where you just know you don't need that client to survive. Because you know what you can bring to the table, and other people recognize that. So don't sell yourself for less is another thing I would encourage people. So at first you have to, because that's part of the game. You want to get your name out there. You want to keep going. But there comes a point where you just, hey, man, like, this is what I'm worth.
You understand your value.
Yes.
100%.
Good way to say it.
Yeah, I mean, I've learned it too, even through podcasting, you know, with everything. Tacos, podcasting, just
cutting grass.
Cutting grass. I'm a beast at cutting grass. You know, I cut my fingers. I'm a beast at cutting grass. I do the best. Tell you the truth, I find a harmony in that. I know it's stereotypical because we're Mexicans, whatever, but I find harmony in cutting grass.
Yeah, man. I mean, we used to do the weeds all the time, and honestly,
I didn't like that shit though.
There's nothing.
Actually, I do like.
I understand it's very typical Mexicans, but I think one thing I could take away from our culture is that we're very hardworking. We do a lot of jobs that people don't want to do, and you know, a lot of us just keep pushing forward, and we know what some society thinks of us, but at the end of the day, like I said, we keep pushing forward, and that's what people need to do. Stop worrying about what other people think. And I'm not saying that these issues don't have to be recognized, because they do, but at the end of the day, you probably spent more time worrying about something else where you could have focused your energy on something else. And I think that's really big too, because I've gone through a little cleansing these last couple of weeks where, you know, I was following all this stuff on social media, which is like great, but I mean, it was taking time away from this, time from that. So it's like, why am I even gonna like lose sleep over it? Like at the end of the day, the only thing I'm gonna lose is energy that I could like be using for my work with my clients and all that. So that's why it's like sometimes you need to just get away from that, because it becomes negative. You really don't want to be in a negative place, especially when you have your business, especially when it's like peaking season. So that's what I would also recommend.
I mean, the way I see it is the best way you can give back is giving your all. Because when you give your all, people recognize how people see the hard work, and they say, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And the way he does that, the way he or she does that within any field, you know, like I'll use athletes for an instance. When athletes are athletes, people fall in love with that discipline. All they need to be is athletes, and people will fall in love with that, and they can use what they learn in other principles, you know, in other fields. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
And by being good at that one thing, people recognize that. And by being not that good at one thing, but one thing they love. And when you're good at one thing, or when you're just so passionate about one thing you love, so consistent and disciplined, people will see that they should focus on that.
And I think a lot of people tell like athletes like you should just do this and that. But I mean, I think it comes down to this, because I had like a sit down the other day with a friend, and he told me, he's like, I don't know what I'm doing with my accounting. And this gentleman is very successful. Yeah. And I was surprised he didn't have an accountant, but I was like, talk to me, what's going on? He's like, I don't know this and that. And I'm like, I know why you don't have this together. But not because you neglect it, because you're so good at sales. Because that's your bread and butter. That's what makes you sleep at night. Wake up and boom, that's exactly what you want to hit. Those are your goals. Those are your targets. So you're putting this aside, well, maybe because you want to avoid Uncle Sam a little bit, but that's your skill set. Like, that's what makes you happy. Yes, you should hire someone like me to go ahead and coach you through the way. But I mean, the thing is, like, when people say, well, I don't know a little bit of that or that, but I can see there's a successful brand. I'm like, that's why you don't know, because you're putting all your energy into that. Like, have you seen my marketing? Terrible. Maybe sometimes.
Both of ours.
Yeah.
I hate marketing, but I have to.
But that's the thing. You have to do those things. You have to do a lot of things. It's like, what is it? When you're working out, you want the arms, you want the, like, glutes and all that. But, like, you got to do cardio. You have to do cardio after. Yeah. And nobody wants to do cardio after or before.
I do. How about stretch? Stretch.
Yeah, that's another one. A lot of people don't like to stretch.
Want to stretch.
Yeah. I do CrossFit, get lifted, get up for the gorillas. a lot of people, how many probably stay 10 minutes before the class? How many stretch before? Not a lot. How many after? Not a lot. So yeah, it comes down to those little fundamentals, and that's what makes a business grow. But it's okay with hiring other people, learning how to do it. But it takes time, and that's okay.
Patience.
Mm-hmm.
All it is patience.
How many people have you seen millionaires from day one?
That's true.
Yeah, come on.
And it also has to do with like the media and like what you watch. I think I mean, don't get me wrong, I watch it too sometimes, but I think social media is just fucking poisonous.
Poisonous. The news is poisonous. You're getting news. You get people triggered on headlines that a full story hasn't even come out.
Yeah.
You know, I used to believe this country. What is it? You're not guilty until proven other. You're innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
But I think it's the other way around now. You're guilty until proven innocent. And I think that little takeaway applies to everything, because if you come out in a headline, you did this, it's like there's always two sides. There's three sides to a story.
It's true.
Which are they?
It's one person. It's the person's side, the other person's side, and the truth.
Exactly. So there's always three versions. So when you have headlines coming out of what's going on, this and that, it's like it triggers people. And I mean, I've been quick to make an opinion as well, but there's like a full scope of it. You have to like learn to take a step back and be like, well, why? What happened? What was the cause of this? You know, you can't just be like, oh man, like this is it because of this. You know, it's like there's always different angles from the story, so you have to read into it before you take a stance on it. So I think the way people base their position on is too quick.
You have to see the full story.
Exactly.
You have to see the full story before you can make a judgment, because
I could be thinking I'm giving you a good service, and then you call back a couple months later and you're like, hey, what the hell happened? And that's the thing, like I could be the whole time thinking I did something good, and that's happened to me in the past, where thought I did a good service, and the individual, I reached out to him like 2 years later, hey, what's going on? Is everything okay? It's like I didn't like this and that. I was just like, oh well. And the whole time I thought I did something good.
Yeah.
And that kind of was a little bit of a wake up call too. That you have to understand that there's always three sides to a story, but if you think you're doing something good, sometimes it's a little scary. You're like, this is no way, this is too easy. But sometimes when you just keep practicing repetitive, it comes easy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. And then two, I think people use so much of their voice within this social realm where it's just in the social media. Who cares? You know, no one cares.
That I would have to agree with. And that's something that we have to understand, that people, everybody has an opinion. I get that. But it depends who listens to your opinion, because I think a lot of people are like, well, you know, I think this isn't right or this isn't right. But I believe, it was the Golden Globes. What's the gentleman's name?
Good ethical man. Good ethics.
Not ethical.
I'm talking about you. Good ethics.
Good ethics, but
You said gentleman. I always said, hey, that dude or that guy, you know? You said that gentleman.
Ricky Jarvis, that's his name.
I don't know who he's.
Sorry. Well, if you see his, I guess he was the MC for it, and he just told people like who cares? Like, when you get your award, just come and get it. Like, why do you care about kind of like doing this or that or this? Like, people aren't gonna pay attention to you. Like, in Hollywood, we're all sellouts. So like, why do you care? Like, you're really not gonna change the world. And it got me thinking, like, you know what? Why did he say that? And a lot of people are like, what an asshole. I can't believe he said that. Like, you know. And like I said, everybody does deserve an opinion.
Of course.
And everybody can say whatever they want. But if you're going to say whatever you want, you better know that there's an opposition. They're going to say something else. And if you can, I think the big thing is agreeing to disagree. And I think that's very important, because everybody's like one side and everybody's the other. It's like, oh, no. So you have to agree to disagree. And that, what he mentioned, and it's going to come back to you, like, how is that relevant, Hector? Well, in business, a lot of people just stay in their lanes. And that's why they're so successful. And a lot's why some individuals don't even take a political stance, because they know they can't please everybody. But if you're in the middle, you can't get anybody to not like you. So I mean, there's been times where if you have if you want political gain, if you want like to target a certain media like market, you want that market penetration, you say things that makes a certain what's it called, certain crowd appeal to you. So let's take the instance The Rock. He came out and he's like, you know what, I've never endorsed anybody, but he endorsed Kamala Harris and Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And I you know what, that's awesome. It was his first time endorsing, and by all means. But then you have like Chick-fil-A, like 4 years ago, saying how they don't, what's it called? How they discriminate against gay people, and their sales go up. And you're just like, how? Like, you just discriminated somebody, and that's not cool. But that's just like, there's a certain like audience you want to gauge, and you can trigger certain people to go. And Chick-fil-A, I go there, best customer service I've ever seen in my life. Other than like, I'll give In-N-Out Burger and Disney like.
And Fogo de Chao.
Fogo de Chao. No, yes, no, because if there's not. Well, the thing is, like, I haven't been to many Fogo de Chaos, but I'm pretty sure it's like consistent across the board.
Yeah.
But you go to every Chick-fil-A, damn, dude, they're telling you, what do you want? Do you want extra barbecue ketchup? And it's amazing. And I'm just like, you guys discriminate against gays. Like, what do they have to do with and nothing? Like, not cool.
I bet they all still go there, bro.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A's good.
Yeah. Probably a whole chicken strip in one bite. Just kidding. Just kidding. I love gay people.
Yeah, it's all good, dude. But I you know what, dude? With society, it's crazy. I don't get it. It's like we're like backwards, you know. Sometimes where we like we applaud other people when we should be applauding the right people. If that makes sense, you know.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't think people have their values. I mean,
I think people are just controlled.
Oh, very, very controlled. Very controlled to what they want to hear, what they look. I mean, social media. You talk about boots. I'll talk about Tap boots right now. Awesome boots, by the way.
I don't even know what Tap boots are, brother.
They're sick. They make you look pretty good. You know? But I go through my Instagram, probably 5 minutes, I guarantee I'll find a Tap ad.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy. So I think a lot of people, if you're looking for something, you're going to get like the same content.
Yeah.
And that should kind of like take you like step back and be like, why is this coming up? Or like, but what's the opposition? And that's the thing. Like, I feel like a lot of people only come up like in big things like elections, you know. Everybody's a basketball fan when the NBA finals are like, well, I used to watch this guy, you know. But where were you the rest of the 81 games? Like, there's 82 in a basketball season.
Yeah.
So like, that's the thing. People just want to feel important in big things. Like, everybody, the United States made history. You know, we had our first female vice president, you know? Yeah. I think Joe Biden was the first president-elect as a VP. But don't quote me on that. So those are big, you know, milestone in history. But, dude, the president, like, that election's not even the most important one. Midterms are. Midterms are the most important part of our system for election. And people don't know that. So let's see how many people come out to midterms, and it's not going to be the same. But that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people came out because they wanted to, and they wanted to voice their opinion. And America got what they wanted because that's what they elected.
Yeah. But
that's okay, because that's what America wanted. And that's kind of like the beauty of this democracy is like America get what they want, because it's, you know, a lot of countries don't have that.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm kind of getting towards is like a lot of people think, well, we have all these issues in America. We do, but how many have you traveled outside the world? A lot of people don't, and I think Americans very spoiled in a sense that we think we know it all, and that's where in business that's the biggest problem. We think we know it all. We don't like to take constructive criticism. I'm open to all of it because I need it.
Yeah.
And there's always, like I said, room for growth. You know, and you want to keep growing. You want to keep peaking. But the thing is that I think America, like, you have to understand the rest of the world and where it's at. I think when I see other businesses, because I do business in Mexico, you know, I see the demand and supply for it. That's why I sell buses, because people don't have a car to go to. And if they have a car, it's probably like a 1989 car, which they're all, what is it called, millennial theft, because they're all shifts, they're all stick shift.
The low riders.
Yeah, there you go. So the thing is, like, a lot of people don't understand that. Like, we have a lot of needs. We take gas for granted. We complain about a gas being $2.30.
Yeah.
Like, but there's other countries that don't even have gas. Like, I remember when we were in Colombia, and one of my dad's friends, she picked us up because we were going to go to her house. They had a bougie lifestyle. They had like Benz, they had G-Wagon and everything.
When we'd go to
Sulman's house.
Yeah.
And they had like security in the front. It was crazy. And what's it called? Like, there was like a shortage of gas because like Venezuela was like not having good public relations with Colombia. So like the gas was like boom, cut. So like I remember like we're driving and like a brand new Mercedes, and we like pull up into this house, and all these guys just like go and they start filling up with gas, and I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, one, it's like, it's crazy what money can buy. And two, you're just like, over here we have gas and we're like 5 minutes away from a pump and we're complaining about the price. And who knows what she's paying for it. But I guarantee you not everybody has that accessibility.
Yeah.
And I think that's a problem with Americans, because I think we live
comfortably.
More than comfortably. I think we have a lot of things next to us, regardless of our income.
Yeah.
We have food. We have transportation. We have fucking credit. How many countries have credit? None.
No.
If you go to...
Well, I don't know about Europe.
In El Paso, you go to Juarez? You know what? And like,
Mexico, they don't have.
Yeah, and people like, oh, all these people, Mexicans coming over and taking all this shit. I'm like... And then you see them driving Porsches and shit. I'm like, bro, they didn't finance that. They had to pay that shit cash. And like, that's the thing. Like, when I used to work at the Disney store, I would never bitch about, oh, these people from Juarez, like, rude and stuff. I'm like, you have to understand, like, some people come from a different culture, and that's just the way things are.
Yeah.
So they don't know how things function here, how you guys are all babied here. So sometimes, like, when people are a little demanding or something, like, Dad, when we go to Applebee's and he just sits at a table, he's like, well, we're going to order. I'm like, Dad, you have to wait, because, you know, it's not just go sit down and, you know, like, because he would, like, if there was a line.
He's a trip, dude. He's a trip.
If there was a line, if there was no line and he's just like, I'm just going to go sit down, he would do that. And the hostess would get all mad. I'm like, I'm sorry, he's not from here. Even though he's lived here the last 25 plus years. But, and that's the thing, like, you have to understand, because I've seen it. And a lot of people don't see the culture, and they're not open to it. Yeah. So when they say, oh, people from Juarez come in and shit, like, they're all crashing. I'm like, you know what, dude? Be blessed that they're over here spending, because that's what keeps driving this economy. Like, how many jobs at the mall people got laid off because of COVID?
Yeah.
But if COVID were to happen, who's feeding you, huh? But now it's the government feeding you. And people are like, well, why go work? And it's like, that mentality sucks. And like, that's another shitty mentality.
What pisses me off is they're like, you know, take care of the immigrants, but then they complain about, you know, Mexicans and stuff like that. You know, it's a double-sided sword.
Yeah, and you know what?
Double-edged sword.
I'm very open about how I feel about immigration, but the reason is because I've seen Mom live through it. And Mom's always had people from Mexico come over.
Yeah.
She gives them food. She gives them a house. How many strangers have we had in our household, like, growing up? Like, probably 10 people have come into the house.
Yeah.
In and out. But you know what? It's like the last person, even if they left a bad taste in their mouth. Hey, do you want breakfast? What do you need? Do you need this? Don't be scared to use the TV. Whatever you guys feel at home. And out of those 10 times, 8 have been bad experiences. And that's the thing. Like, people say, oh, I'm so strict on immigrant. They're like, why is this? It's like, well, invite people to your house and see how it's like.
Yeah.
And if you like it from your heart, then you'll know how it is to adapt. But a lot of people don't do that. And that's the thing. A lot of people, it's easy for them to say, oh, hey, business people should give up, you know, their riches or get taxed a little harder. But you know what? Like, coming from business, it's like, I've worked, but there's people out there that work twice as hard as me and want it twice as hard as me. And it shows. And like, when I see people, like, I see them, I text them, and they text me like at 4 a.m. And I text them back at 8. When I wake up, they text me back at 8:01. It's like they slept probably 3 hours. And you're telling me that guy should give up more because he stayed up those extra hours? What kind of... I mean, it's not right. And that's what people don't understand. And I think that's, like, America's problem. That you can disagree with someone, But instead of arguing with them and telling them, hey, this is my stance and I disagree with yours, just shut the fuck up. Like, just don't even say anything. Listen and then give your point.
Listen.
Because you might go to his side or her side, or you might convince them to come to yours. But if you're just arguing, like beating your chest, it's not going to go anywhere. And I think like that's the biggest problem with like young people, entrepreneurs, is that they say they want to listen. I mean, there's great content out there. There's Mr. Gary Vee, I believe. He's like
Uncle G, yeah.
Yeah, he's good on marketing, and he gives it to you straight. And a lot of people are like, yeah, I follow him and stuff, but a lot of people don't apply the practice. And then like
it's like with Kobe.
Yeah. Kobe is a phenomenal athlete. And what I liked...
And an entrepreneur to me.
Entrepreneur, but Kobe was like... But the way he just goes about his business, it's like... He did what he had to on the court. And then he transitioned to like a dad. Because, I mean, he was a dad, but I mean... He wasn't there. Because he was winning championships. And he was being successful on the court, and everybody recognized that. So when he finished his duty on the court, he started transitioning to a dad, and he started like... What else am I going to do? But, like, that was his mentality. Like, that Mamba mentality is real. And people are like, well, I got the Mamba mentality. I'm like, no, you don't. And that's a lot of the thing about entrepreneurs, that they think they have it. They buy all this flashy shit. But it doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't. Because you know how many clients I have that come in with, like, all the Louis V and all that stuff? But do they have retirement accounts? No.
It's just to sell the image.
Yeah, and that image doesn't buy you shit at the end of the day. Like, I don't know how people do, like, certain things and just go out and have... They're like, oh my, can I spend this much? Can I not? You never know who you're gonna run into. You really don't, because like sometimes like I run into friends and they're, hey, I'm gonna order this, and I'm just like, I can't order that. But like, you know what? I've had friends where they're out, like we start a happy hour, and it's like 4:30. Sorry, not 5. We're already like feeling kind of buzzed, and it comes down to 6:30, and it's that time for dinner, and they're like, hey, let's go to steakhouse, and I'm like, you guys can go. I'm going to go eat here because I can't afford a steakhouse right now. And not because I'm asking for like, hey, send me an invite to steakhouse. I'm just be like, I can't afford it, guys. Like, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. And that's the thing. You have to say that. Like, you have to be honest with yourself in a way where you're not there, but you will be, but you're not there. And it's okay. But keep pushing. Maybe I shouldn't be having those drinks at happy hour.
Fuck no, because you're just going to keep digging yourself into another hole, man.
Exactly.
Digging your hole deeper. That's all you're going to do.
Yeah, so that's why I cut myself up at dinner. But I go to the gym the next day. But that's the thing. Like, you have to understand that sometimes you just can't be at a certain level with other people. Regardless if they got their money from mommy and daddy. Regardless if they're smart with their business choices. Like, everybody's always going to find a way to hate on you if you're successful.
100%.
And some people, they become successful because they have good resources and they're up there and they're the most arrogant, cocky assholes at whatever. But you know what? It's okay. Like, don't worry about them. Like, don't give a shit about them. Like, they're not doing anything for you. Why are you going to lose that energy? Like, divert it.
Yeah. And then, I mean, the people that are like that, I wonder, you don't know how it is in their household. They're probably not even happy. They just have a family just to have a family, maybe.
Yeah, or don't have a family.
Just have a family.
Or they could be players, or just have a Motel 6 at their house, people coming in and out, and it's like,
but they serve that purpose. We need arrogant assholes.
Yeah,
everybody literally serves a purpose. We need lazy people.
Yeah, it's a benchmark, I would say. That's what kind of drives success too. You need a benchmark for it.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing I don't like is just hating. People hate on people for being rich. It's like, oh, I can't be rich because people are going to hate on it.
You can't be rich because you don't want to be rich.
Exactly. I saw it at work, too, the other day. Long story short, the ladies came in and they were helping out. They were kind of dissing, my boss, saying that, like, because they knew she had money, but they were dissing her because she had money. It's just like, well, why are you dissing, But
you don't know what she had to go through to get that.
You don't know the whole story.
Yeah.
You probably haven't even read into the story.
And that's like,
it's our egos too, man.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, everybody's quick to judge. What did they do to get there? So I think that's our biggest problem. We're quick to judge, and a lot of businesses like, well, that guy. You're like, oh, he has all these places he could be open, but I'm like, that guy's probably living on credit, and I've seen it because, where I used to work, there was individuals, there was a lot of money going around. Like this management company made a lot of money.
Yeah.
But then when it came time to the year and like Uncle Sam came knocking at their door, and they didn't realize how much money they had made. So in the eyes to Uncle Sam is that, so here's the cool thing, like, so let's say like you're gonna owe 40 grand.
Yeah.
Uncle Sam tells you, hey, can you make estimated payments? And what Uncle Sam means by that, like every quarter of the year, because there's 4 quarters in a year, is that you have to make that payment of 10,000. So you break it up to 4. So by tax season, you kind of already paid your tax bill. Or there's a little bit of difference, you just pay it. But these guys didn't do that. So they're like, and then Uncle Sam, if you owe more than 10,000, he's not too friendly. He doesn't put you on a payment plan. He's like, I want my money and I want it now.
Uncle fucking Sam.
Yep. But that's the thing, like, so these guys are like shooting bricks. They're like, oh my God, what the hell do I do? They were tapping into their retirement account. I think one guy even had a heart attack almost. But that's the thing, like, they like the way they were spending, the way their lifestyles were, like, it was, you don't need those things. Like, they wanted it, and that's okay, but just make sure you're taking all these other things into consideration.
Just, yeah.
But don't feel bad. Like, there was a couple people too, like, there's like, there's this bar owner on, when the pandemic hit, and he lives a good lifestyle, man. He travels, and he works. He's a go-getter. Like, he turns dog shit into, like, Mona Lisas.
I like that.
So when the pandemic hit, he's over here, like, a little traveling and stuff. And what's it called? He, like, I guess 3 months into it, he puts, like a post. He's like, oh, man, like, it's so hard having a business and that. And I'm like, hold the fuck. Like, why are you asking for sympathy? Like, you're over here traveling, and now that your bars are closed, like, it's kind of have a little setback. But then again, it's like, you're a go-getter, but it's like, dude, I've never seen you go behind the bar and work. Like, there's, like, a couple of distinctions I see, because I go to certain places, and, like, you can see, like, the wear and tear.
Yeah.
Just because it happens, but, like, you have some people do, some people don't have, like, a due diligence of an upkeeping to their place. So whether you want to upkeep it and make sure you want to take care of it, it's good. But this guy has never, like, I've never seen him behind the bar, like, pour and stuff. So I'm just like, dude, like, don't come at me with that. Yeah. Or come at people with that. Like, what are you trying to prove? Like, you're over here asking for a get out of jail card, but you're doing all this. Like, don't. Like, you know what you're doing. Like, don't ask for all this. Just like you party is hard when you're spending all that money, you're dropping it, going on vacation, but you don't sweat it. But when you're over here struggling, it's like, oh shit, now shit's real. It's like, you kind of...
It's only when it hits the fan, you know?
Yeah. And exactly. And that's the biggest thing. Like, Jaime has always been adamant about that. He's like, Hector, get ready, because when shit hits the fan, it hits the fan. And luckily I had a job, So in COVID, it wasn't as hard for me as other people.
Yeah.
And other people, like, did take it hard, And I recognize that.
And you know what, bro? The Joker said it the best. When all the tokens are down, people go into chaos.
And the tokens were down.
The tokens were down. People go into chaos.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
There's a lot to learn from that movie.
The Dark Knight and the Joker. Sometimes I think people are more cruel than they are with showing more love, But I think we're working more towards that love, because, I mean, if you look at us back then, we were some ruthless motherfuckers. Like the Mayans, the Aztecs, used to behead each other and stuff.
Oh, I thought you were talking about, like, a couple of years ago. Like, we weren't that ruthless.
Nah, I'm saying, like, back in history, we were ruthless.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. I think
we're angels then.
Like, I think we're becoming more, I would say, humane? Loving, maybe?
Humane, loving.
Humane, yeah. Because
loving, but I just think there's a lot of backstabbing. Like, yeah. I think we live in that world where everybody just has to, like, you go talk, you hang out with someone, the next they're gone, like, oh, fuck that person. I'm like, why are you, like, hanging out with them?
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, and then like, I think it's funny when couples do that. They're like, oh, fuck that guy. Like, later they just see him walking out the door together. I'm like, yeah, fuck that guy, huh?
Yeah. That's true.
But yeah, I think that's, I mean, we touched up on a lot of topics, and I think those are some big issues that, like, have a lot to do with a lot of people in the business.
And because you're accountant, to me, one of the most important things is taking accountability.
Yeah. And you know what? sometimes you just gotta eat it.
Eat it.
If you drop the ball, you eat it.
Yeah.
You eat it, because at the end of the day, regardless what that person says, you know you ate it. And that's the thing. A lot of people could talk shit. And you'd be like, well, you didn't do this and you didn't do that. But at the end of the day, you know inside yourself whether you did it or not.
Yeah.
Well, but that also, you have to have logic, a little bit of logic in there too, where you could be like, and you look at the whole situation and you analyze it. Hey, did I do my best ability? And sometimes you couldn't, but if you have something to work with, good. Yeah. But everybody messes up in the profession.
It's true.
You know what? I don't know how fucking doctors do it, man. Like, they're going in there and they're playing with, like, not like blow up dolls. It's like legit patients.
Human lives, yeah, babies.
And some of them are gonna die. You know, it's like, holy shit. Like, you're practicing on that?
Yeah.
And like, that's, you know, like, not
those are the heroes to me.
Yeah, those are heroes. Because I mean, if I mess up on someone's tax return, it's like
the doctors.
You're just like, you know what? Like, my client pays a fine, but if they mess up on the guy's artery, oh, he's done. So I'm like, oh no, anybody in the medical field right now, especially what they went through, and that just goes to show how like fucked up America's priorities are.
Yeah.
Because what is it? So after you have a George Floyd death, you have cops wearing halo suits. Like, literally halo suits, armored up, like, head to toe, like, they're, like, looking like tanks.
Yeah.
But you have a pandemic, and, dude, there's no masks. There's no... Nurses are, like, working 22-hour shifts. Like, that just goes to show where our priorities at. But at the end of the day, like, a lot of people are, like, they're quick to say that, like me. But it just trickles down. And, like, that's what I've learned before. Because I worked at the gold company, where, like, all the egotistic are at the top, but it works all its way down to the bottom. And I see it, and like, I would have to say, yeah, because then it comes back to like the flex thing. It's like, how many people buy something they don't need? How many people buy Louis Vuitton belts, Gucci belts, and just try and post it for the gram? And what does that get you? Maybe followers, but what does that do? Empty your pocket.
Yeah.
And then you're over here like for 2 weeks regretting, oh, I should have bought that belt, but I look good in it.
Yeah. Sometimes I see it where we're literally actors. We're literally movies for like the 1%. They like just watch us.
They're probably entertained.
They're probably watching us right now. Like, while we watch movies, they are watching us watching the movies. You know what I'm saying? We're the actors because we don't know we're actors. That makes sense.
No, could be.
It could be.
They're probably getting a trip. They're like, hey, these guys aren't too bad.
These guys aren't too bad. Let's go look at Quintero Dinero. Channel Quintero Dinero.
Hey, Bill Gates, check out this Quintero Dinero.
Oh, they got Nikira and she's drinking wine. Yeah, it could be like that. Cheers.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest issue with also businesses is that the reason why a lot of people aren't consistent is that they don't reinvest their dividends. Yeah. You know what I mean? By dividends is like what you make. You gotta pay it back. But that's the thing. It becomes to want and need. So what do you need? Some people, honestly, a lot of memes come out, but like, I'm like, they own a ton of property and like big houses we just don't know. But like Bill Gates is like a perfect example. When he's with Warren Buffett, they got the dad shirts, fucking khakis, you know, old shoes, whatever. And like everybody says like, how many, where are all the Gucci belts and stuff like that? And it's true. Like those guys live like if they probably made $10,000. They probably get everything for free where they go. Or they probably have like some shirt that prevents them from aging that we don't even know. But I mean, like when you see them, it's just, you know, you don't even know it. And that's what you have to also see. It's like, just because you come in looking like Rico Suave doesn't mean you're like the baddest one in there. Like you could be the, like, what is it like people say? It's like the loudest one is the dumbest one. You gotta be careful with the quiet ones.
The loudest one are the ones that have the most to prove.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
And yeah, like nothing wrong with being the quiet one.
Because you have nothing to prove.
Not only that, but when you're talking, you're not listening. So when you're quiet, you're just in the back room, just, oh, okay.
Listening, observing.
This is what I need to do. Easy.
Exactly. All right, Hector. Well, this was a very great podcast. Actually, I had a great time. Actually.
That's it.
How much do you think we're in right now?
What, 44?
44 minutes? We've been an hour and 10 minutes.
Oh, wow. Yeah. It's past my bedtime.
Yeah, it's past your bedtime. I mean, we could do another one tomorrow if you want.
Okay.
I know you love talking. I love talking too. I love doing podcasts. I could go on for hours, actually. We can keep going if you want.
No, we could do it. Okay, but it depends. What are we going to talk about tomorrow?
The Dark Knight.
Dude, okay, there's probably a lot we could talk about. But like, give me something else. Come on now.
No, I'm just kidding. We could talk about anything. We could talk about
Okay, top 10 chick flicks.
chick flicks.
Yes.
Sure. I don't know any. The Notebook, 100%.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days is like,
Crazy Stupid Love,
yes.
100%.
Are you wearing New Balance sneakers?
Oh, because you're in a fraternity, huh?
Yeah.
You're in a fraternity. Yeah, we could do definitely a podcast tomorrow, but it makes my life easier to cut it to an hour and 10 minutes. But that's just me being an asshole.
No, it's okay. You're an asshole.
I am an asshole.
Accepted.
I do accept it, but is there
Nikita
anything?
probably wants to go to bed too. She's like, I want to end this.
She does look tired. No, she does look tired.
She was yawning like at 2 times. Our audience is probably yawning too, so yeah, we probably should cut it.
I was only cutting it for Nikita because she looks so exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
So we blame it on you. But at the end of the day, I have to hold myself to accountability while I'm cutting it. But is there anything else you would like to say to the?
All right, guys, just keep moving forward. Whatever your business is, just know you're not the only ones out there. So reach out to people in the industry and ask for advice. Sometimes you might get something. Sometimes you might get your blessings. You know, poor man's trash is another one's treasure. So just keep going. And need any accounting advice, feel free to hit me up. And I'm sure my brother will put my contact number on the link of the podcast. So.
Oh, he's the best. Where can they find you? As far as Instagram.
I don't know. No, just kidding. I don't put my location on. Just kidding. Nah, just